Hi everybody and welcome to a very snowy forest today. We just couldn't resist the chance to come over here and show you what happens in the forest when it snows. So Molly, do you want to have a little move around with the camera and just show all the boys and girls how beautiful it is? Now I know that some of our younger ones haven't seen real snow before, so I hope you've had a chance to get outside and enjoy it and make snowballs and snowmen. See, some of our canopies are struggling under the weight of the snow over there as well. Might have to do a bit of adjusting and pull the strings and make them go higher again. But one of our favourite stories in our house when the children were younger and still now involves a little animal and snow and footprints. I wonder if you can guess which story we might look at today. There are some clues around, aren't there, Molly? If you'd like to show perhaps some clues. Does anybody know who this character is sitting on our snowy tree stump? And she's also got, if you come a little bit closer, Molly, she's also got some footprints in the snow. I wonder if you can guess who's making these prints. This one hasn't even got feet. It's making like a slidey shape through the snow. This one has got feet with a pad and some toes. And then this one, these footprints are kind of just three long toes poking out. I wonder if you can guess whose footprints they might be. Okay, so our story, if you haven't guessed already, is the Gruffalo's child. And as you can see, she goes out for an adventure in the snow. I'm sure lots of you know this story already, but it is one of our favourites, isn't it, Molly? We sat yesterday and we saw it on the telly. We watched the animation on the telly. It says, the Gruffalo said that no Gruffalo should ever set foot in the deep dark wood. Why not? Why not? Because if you do, the big bad mouse will be after you. I met him once, said the Gruffalo. I met him a long time ago. What does he look like? Tell us, Dad. Is he terribly big and terribly bad? I wonder if any of you can remember what the big bad mouse looks like. I can't quite remember, the Gruffalo said. Then he thought for a minute and he scratched his head. The big bad mouse is terribly strong and his scaly tail is terribly long. His eyes are like pools of terrible fire and his terrible whiskers are tougher than wire. Oh, he sounds very scary, doesn't he? Is he really a big bad mouse? He is. One snowy night when the Gruffalo snored, the Gruffalo's child was feeling bored. The Gruffalo's child was feeling brave, so she tiptoed out of the Gruffalo cave. The snow fell fast and the wind blew wild. Into the wood went the Gruffalo's child. Now, as you can see in our wood, here is the Gruffalo's child. She tiptoed out of the Gruffalo cave last night when it was snowing. And now she's out here exploring the forest. So I wonder if we could help her explore and have a look for some footprints together. Okay, let's have a look. You're going to come with us, little Miss Gruffalo. There's our little tree stump that she's sitting on. So we're going to have a look and see which footprints we can see. So Molly, we might have to put the camera towards the ground and have a little look around. Now we can see our footprints, can't we, in the snow with our snow boots on. Can you find any others? The great thing about the snow in the forest is we can see which animals come out at night even when we're not here. Now if we stop here, Molly, they've been a bit covered up. I don't know if you can get a little bit closer. There are some footprints that I think have then been covered up by more snow over the top. And these look like they could be either squirrel or rabbit. It's hard to tell because they've been covered up. But both squirrels and rabbits have long back legs. So we have a longer piece here where the whole of the back of their leg sort of comes down. And then we have the two smaller pieces for their front paws that sort of dip into the snow straight down like that. And what have we got over here, Molly?
What do we have?
What do we have? Can you see them?
No.
There's some footprints here.
Oh yeah.
we show the Gruffalo's child as well so she can have a little look. So we've got dogs, we know, because they have these pads in kind of a diamond shape and they don't retract their claws, so we can see where their claws dig into the snow. Now, similar to badgers, but badgers, the 4 pads are in a straight line and the claws come at the top like that. So we know this is a dog and not a badger. This is somebody that's been out walking their dog either this morning or last night. Okay, come on then, Gruffalo. No familiar animals yet though from our story. So let's have a little look at who she meets first of all. Oops. There we go. It's hard to get the right page with our gloves on. Aha! Aho! A trail in the snow. Whose is this trail and where does it go? A tail poked out of a log pile house. Could this be the tail of the big bad mouse? There's a tail sticking out. And we can see this trail doesn't have any footprints because snakes don't have feet. So it's more like a sliding trail. So shall we have a look and see if we can see any sliding trails anywhere? I love that crunching sound of the snow, the squeaky fresh snow. These look like they're sliding a little bit, but they've also got some footprints in them, so I think that's peaceful. Perhaps with their long trousers travelling along behind. I can see a sliding trail. Can you see the sliding trail, Mummy?
I can.
And who might be at the end of it? There's a tail poking out of the log pile house. Is this the tail of the big bad mouse? Shall we have a look? Shall we pull it out and see who it is? Let's pull the tail. Oh, it's stuck in there. Is it the big bad mouse?
No.
No, it's not the big bad mouse. It's a different animal altogether. Who is it? Out slid a creature. His eyes were small and he didn't have whiskers. No, none at all. You're not the mouse. Not I, said the snake. He's down by the lake eating Gruffalo cake. So it's not the big bad mouse, Gruffalo's child. It's just a snake and he lives in this log pile house. Shall we see if we can see any more footprints anywhere? The snow fell fast and the wind blew wild. I'm not scared, said the Gruffalo's child. Come on, let's go this way. Oh, let's go this way. Birds. Oh, careful, try not to tread on them, sweetheart. They're very difficult to see because I'm going to redraw them for you with a stick. Because the snow is so fluffy, it's kind of blown back on the top of them. But if you look really carefully, you can see that there's kind of these little, look like little triangles with a long point on the top. And here as well. This is where a bird's hopped through the snow with some very cold feet. There's any more. It might be a little bit clearer.
What have we got here?
Oh, well spotted. Oh, now these I believe to be squirrel because the front of them are together. Hopping around, probably trying to remember where he put his acorns back in the autumn. having a little look around. Don't think there's much other food. Trying to find. Oh, they've got the old ones. Good stuff. Little piles of leaves all over our holly bushes as well. Piles of leaves, piles of snow, I mean, on the leaves of the holly bushes. I wonder if anybody can see it up high. So our Gruffalo sees those bird footprints and she says, aha, aho, marks in the snow. Whose are these claw marks and where do they go? And two eyes gleamed out of a treetop house. Could these be the eyes of the big bad mouse? Do we think they're mouse's eyes? Have a look at the orange eyes sitting up in the tree. Do they belong to a mouse? I don't think they do. Let's pop our little Gruffalo down here so she can meet the creature as it flies down from the tree. There we go. And it's going to make some little footprints, look. See if we can make him make some footprints. There we go. There we go. There's some footprints. Down flew the creature. His tail was short and he didn't have whiskers of any sort. You're not the mouse. Too-hoo, not I. But he's somewhere nearby, eating Gruffalo pie. The snow fell fast and the wind blew wild. I'm not scared, said the Gruffalo's child. So off she goes, back out into the forest again, still on the hunt for the big bad mouse. This time, she sees some different prints again. Aha, aho, a track in the snow. Whose is this track and where does it go? I wonder if we can see if we can find some tracks that look like that next, Molly. Shall we try that way? Come on, Gruffalo. Let's see what we can find.
You can see where we're already in.
Yeah, we've left our own footprints behind, haven't we? Oh, here's some tracks here, look. Can we see? Some good tracks there. They look a little bit like a dog or maybe another creature. A bit like a dog that might live out here in the forest at night. It's got the four pads and the claws at the top. And also there's some birds here as well, look. Maybe that's where the owl was going on his way to the tree. Let's have a look. Let's follow these tracks. Which way do they go, Molly, do you think?
This.
Go on then, follow that direction. Oh, there's a patch without any snow. I think the tree is giving some shelter on the ground. I think I can spot another animal hiding. I wonder if anybody else can spot it. Look in this little den. Who might be in here? Oh, you're going to sit there? Whiskers at last, and an underground house. Could this be the home of the big bad mouse? Is this the big bad mouse, do you think? Shall we have a look? Shall we see who the whiskers belong to? It's not the big bad mouse. It's a different creature altogether. It's a fox. Oh, should we turn her around so she can talk to the fox? Out slunk the creature. His eyes weren't fiery. His tail wasn't scaly. And his whiskers weren't wiry. You're not the mouse. Oh no, not me. He's under a tree, drinking Gruffalo tea. It's all a trick, said the Gruffalo's child, as he sat on a stump where the snow lay piled. I don't believe in the big bad mouse, but here comes a little one out of his house. Not big, not bad, but a mouse at least. You'll taste good as a midnight feast. Uh-oh, poor little mouse. I wonder if there's a mouse hiding anywhere in our forest. Shall we go and see if we can find a little hole where our mouse might be hiding? Now, mouse footprints are very, very common. In this powder snow, they can very tricky to see. Have a little look. Oh, there's a little bird come past there. Can you see?
Where is
I think it's a little wren. Can you hear it? In amongst the bushes. Can you see it, Molly?
No.
No.
Can't.
Should we just listen then? Lots of birds about today. So you can see where we're going. There we go. Oh, there's some more of those foxy footprints coming up here, look. And maybe a dog, a very thin bird. Can't see any mouse prints yet. Now sometimes in the base of this tree there is a hole where the mouse can hide. Shall we have a look? Ah, here he is. Just popping out of this little hole where he lives. And here comes the Gruffalo's child. Not big, not bad, but a mouse at least. You'll taste good as a midnight feast. Wait, said the mouse. Before you eat, there's a friend of mine that you ought to meet. If you'll let me hop onto the hazel twig, I'll beckon my friend, so bad and so big. The Gruffalo's child unclenched her fist. The big bad mouse, so he does exist. The mouse hopped into the hazel tree. He beckoned, then said, just wait and see. It sounds to me like the mouse has got a plan. And shall we see if we take our mouse? We have got a hazel tree in our forest. So shall we go out and have a little look? Might need to turn around more this way. Can you remember where Alice's hazel tree is?
Can't.
Just now, see if we can make some little Gruffalo footprints. There they go. She looks like she's jumping. So if animals jump, they tend to have 2 feet going together, a bit like the rabbits and the squirrels, just like the Gruffalo's doing here. Whereas if they walk, they tend to have,
One foot in front of the
yeah,
other.
1 foot in further, sort of offset a little bit like that. There you go. So if you're looking for tracks, you can tell if the animal jumps because the 2 feet land together. That might give you a clue as to whose tracks they are. Here's our hazel tree. Now, as you can see, the sun is just coming straight through our forest. And what happens when it's very sunny is that we get shadows. So if you have a look on the floor, you might be able to see the shadows of this hazel tree come all the way up to here. So the shadow is taller than the tree itself because it's winter and the sun is low and we have these really long shadows. So the mouse's clever plan involves making himself look bigger by using the shadows. So shall we see what happens? If we pop our Gruffalo child, she can go in the tree as well, just for now. There you go. Hold on tight, Gruffalo's child. I don't know if you're as good a climber. There's a little mouse stay. Is she going to manage?
There we go.
Is she all right? Is she in?
She's balanced.
She's balanced, is she? So let's see what the mouse's plan is. Molly, if you come round to here a little bit, if you stand to this side, because look, we might even come round this side, sweetheart.
Where are we going?
Sorry. So I didn't know if you might be able to see the mouse's shadow. Don't know if we can just. We might have to come down here a bit. Oh, there we go. Look. Can you see the mouse's shadow? So the shadow is actually bigger than the mouse itself. Look, there he is. See him wiggling around on the floor. Let's see if we sit you there. Oh, I can't. There isn't a branch for him to sit on where you can see the shadow. So we'll sit him back at there for now. Let's have a look. It says, out came the moon. So today we've got the sun. But in the story, It was the moon. Out came the moon. It was bright and round, and a terrible shadow fell onto the ground. Who is this creature, so big, bad and strong? His tail and his whiskers are terribly long. His ears are enormous, and over his shoulder he carries a nut as big as a boulder. Now we know that it's not really. It's because the shadows make things look bigger. The big bad mouse, yelled the Gruffalo's child, and the mouse jumped down from the twig and smiled. Aha, aho, prints in the snow. Whose are these footprints, and where do they go? Whose footprints are those ones? I think they're the Gruffalo's child as she's running away back to her Gruffalo cave. The footprints led to the Gruffalo cave, where the Gruffalo's child was a bit less brave. The Gruffalo's child was a bit less bored. And the Gruffalo, what did he do? He snored and snored and snored. And there's our mouse again, our hero of our story, our clever little mouse who always manages to outsmart the bigger creatures, having a sit down on a snowy pebble, eating his nut, which isn't as big as a boulder. So, I thought we could have a little look at our shadows, and then perhaps you guys could have a play with your shadows as well, as it's such a lovely sunny day. So just like, here we go, look, here's our mouse. So just like in the story, our shadows on days like today are actually taller than we are. So if we measured from this point where my feet are, Molly, if you went and put a mark or a stick or something where my head is, now I am about 180 centimetres tall, so that's not quite 2 metres, okay, in real life. So if I measured from here all the way up to here, I wouldn't even get to 2 metres, not quite. But what we're going to do is try and measure my shadow and see how much longer or how much taller it is than I am, okay? So do we think it's going to be further than 2 metres? We haven't got a tape measure, we're going to pace it out instead. Okay, so we're going to go from where my feet are, and we're going to say that each pace is about 1 metre, and we've got to get to the stick that Molly marked the top of my head. Okay, so there's 1 metre, there's 2 metres, so that's already taller. So if I was to lay down, am I feeling brave enough to lay down?
No.
No. Okay, let's see. Right, ready? Which was the stick? It was that one there.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 metres. 4 metres. It's almost twice as long. Makes me look almost twice as tall, which is why the Gruffalo's child was so scared. I am going to lay down. So this was my original one. This is where I was standing. And if I lay down, there we go, I only get about halfway to where my stick was when we were marking out my shadow. So we know that it makes us twice as big with our shadows than in real life. So I thought maybe you guys might like to have a go at that as well. You don't have to lay in the snow like I did, but measuring out your shadows and see if they make you look a little bit taller. Now we need to finish off with our Gruffalo, don't we? She's still out here and she's scared, so she's going to run back this way. I've got a snowy hat now, Molly.
Yeah.
All going down the back of my neck. Here she goes. We make some footprints in the snow. She's going to bounce through the snow. There's her footprints. See if we can find her Gruffalo cave. Where is it, Gruffalo? Partial face on. Let's listen for some snoring. Can we hear any Gruffalo snoring? I think there's some this way. I can hear the snoring. There's some snoring. And we see any orange eyes or purple prickles anywhere. go, Gruffalo's child. Back with Dad in your Gruffalo cave. He'll never know. And here's our mouse, sitting very smartly outside of our cave, feeling very pleased with himself for that very, very clever trick with the shadows. So thank you very much for listening to our story today. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you learned a little about shadows and about animal footprints too. And maybe today you might like to go out and see if you can find any footprints and see if you can identify who they belong to, who's been out and about in the snow. Maybe you can make your own footprint tracks and follow each other through the snow and see if you can find where each other are hiding, following footprints. And maybe you could do some measuring or playing with your shadows as well. So thank you very, very much, and we'll see you again another time. Bye.
It won't stop.